For a little while now, Razer has been putting out gaming headsets with less flash and more substance, like the Kyra Wireless and the Black Shark V2. Now, the company is back with another high-value audio product. The Razer Barracuda X is low weight, low profile, and it works just about everywhere. But a lot of $99 gaming headsets can claim that. So how does this one match up? The Barracuda X has a pretty restrained aesthetic compared to a lot of Razer products. There aren't any flashing LEDs or bulky metal grates. There aren't even the typical neon green highlights. It basically looks like a standard pair of black plastic headphones with a microphone sticking out of it. The plastic also means that the Barracuda X is really lightweight, close to 250 grams. That's way lighter than hefty headsets like the Corsair Virtuoso and Razer's own Nari, and it's also quite a bit lighter than lightweight gaming headsets too. The headset's ear pads are made of memory foam, covered in the same mesh fabric the company's been using for a little while now. It's comfortable, and if you happen to be living through a once-in-a-lifetime heat wave like I was during this review, this manages heat buildup well enough to not make that extra unbearable. If you're a gamer with glasses, this lacks the eyewear channels that a lot of older Razer gaming headsets have. But the headband is loose enough and the ear pads are soft enough that you shouldn't have too much of an issue. There's not a lot in the way of control for this headset. Basically, it's just power, volume, and mic muting along the bottom edge of the left headphone. The Barracuda X isn't compatible with Razer Synapse, so you don't get any additional features. The company is going for a slightly wider audience than just hardcore gamers, so it probably makes sense not to bog anyone down in additional software. The Barracuda X is pretty versatile for gaming. It's missing features you would have expected a couple years ago out of a decent wireless headset. But these days, platforms have their own built-in solutions for things like virtual surround sound. Using the PlayStation 5's 3D audio feature, the Barracuda X doesn't have any trouble nailing the sound of swinging through New York City traffic in Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Windows Sonic, Microsoft's spatial audio standard for Xbox and PC, also doesn't pose much of an issue, whether I'm sailing around in Sea of Thieves or playing a battle royale like Apex Legends. If I had to pick the Razer Barracuda X's most meaningful feature, it'd be this. The headset uses a USB-C dongle to connect wirelessly to most gaming platforms. This means it's compatible with PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, PC, and even smartphones. The headset also comes with a 3.5mm cord, so you can connect it to pretty much anywhere else, even after the battery dies. Speaking of the battery, the Razer Barracuda X managed just over 25 hours and 20 minutes in our testing, which is on the higher end for a gaming headset. It's definitely plenty for a couple days worth of calls or a handful of long gaming sessions. The Barracuda X's audio output largely lines up with our target curve, what we think sounds good to most people. But there's a pretty steep drop in bass output at very low frequencies. Most music should come through pretty nice with the Barracuda X, but you may find that some bassier sounds lack a little bit of their characteristic oomph. The rumble of an explosion right next to you might not be quite as loud, but you probably won't notice it much. Things rarely get busy enough to really impact whether you hear something clearly, and an explosion is always going to be the loudest sound, even if you're missing a little bit of that sub-bass rumbling. Maybe it's the thickness of the ear pads or the material they're covered in, but the Barracuda X just doesn't do an especially good job blocking outside noise. It's got pretty average isolation for a gaming headset, but for whatever reason, average for a gaming headset is below average for most headphones. Most of the time, it won't be an issue if you're playing games at home. However, given that this works with smartphones and laptops, you could conceivably bring it to a cafe, or at least a little farther afield than your couch. And attenuation like this really isn't going to block out much sound once traffic or large groups of people get involved, unless you crank the volume, which you really don't want to do. The Razer Barracuda X has a pretty standard microphone for a gaming headset. It's not the best on the market, but there's nothing especially wrong with it either. It is a little bit quiet, but nothing that a little boost in Discord won't fix. There are tons of great wireless gaming headsets for $99, and the Barracuda X is definitely one of the better ones. In this price range, the only other headset to use a wireless USB-C dongle is the SteelSeries Arctis One Wireless, and the Barracuda X is just as good in pretty much every way, and I actually found it more comfortable. Stripping out the bells and whistles means there isn't as much to hide behind if the fundamentals aren't very good. That's not really something the Barracuda X needs to worry about. It's not perfect, but for a gaming headset, it's pretty damn good.